Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my October book haul. I switched it up a little bit last month with my book haul and I kind of just showed you like what was in my pile first, but I think I'm going to revert back to my usual way of doing things. So I'm going to show you new releases first and then I'm going to move into backlist books. But before I get into those new releases, I do just want to say thank you so much to Elle from Elliot Brooks. She picked me up a copy of New Spring by Robert Jordan. This is the prequel novel that is in the Wheel of Time series, and this is the last book that I needed to complete my Wheel of Time collection. She happened to find it for a good price at her local used bookstore, so she sent me a message and was like, hey, do you want this? Like, do you want me to pick this up for you? And I was like, oh my god, yes, please. So she picked it up for me and sent it to me, and I am so thankful because I now have a completed Wheel of Time collection. So thank you again, Elle. And if you guys have not seen her channel, she is amazing, so you should definitely go and check her out. Okay, and now for some new releases. I picked up Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This book follows our main character, Lou, who is a witch, and another main character, Reed, who is a witch hunter. The two of them end up married, and obviously shenanigans ensue. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was really fun. I read it in the month of October, so if you want to know my full thoughts, you can watch my October wrap-up for that. I also picked up the Owl Crate exclusive edition of The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. I saw this pop up in my Instagram feed, and I was like, oh my goodness, that cover is amazing. So I ended up ordering a copy from Owl Crate, and thankfully I ended up loving it once I did read it. This is a beautifully written zombie novel, if you can believe that. I was really drawn into the mythology of this world. I really ended up enjoying it. I'm so glad that I got this really pretty edition. They might still have it available on their website if you want to pick up a copy for yourself. You didn't actually have to buy the whole box to get it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. And then I also picked up Twilight of the Elves by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Eliopoulos. This is the second book in the Adventurers Guild series. The third and final book is coming out in December, so I wanted to read this one in November so that I'll be ready to go and to finish the series in December when that third one comes out. This is a middle grade series, and all of the mythology and lore is like heavily pulled from Dungeons and Dragons, so it's a really good intro to D&D. If you have a child who expresses interest in it, this I think would be a good way to familiarize them with the world and the different races and the different classes and the different types of jobs that you can have and guilds that you can be in. I think this is a really good like starter pack, and I loved the first book. I read it twice. I have to read the second one, like I said, and I'm really looking forward to doing so. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I pre-ordered this book from Waterstones, so this is the Waterstones exclusive edition, and it also came signed by Leigh Bardugo. Got her signature there, and this is such a pretty naked hardback. Got that compass, and look at that spine. I love it. This is one of the books that I'm planning on reading in November. I've been so highly anticipating it, and I seriously followed the tracking for my order like every single day from when it shipped, and it did not arrive until right at the end of October, and that's when I decided to save it for November. So we're following a girl named Alex, and she's in charge of keeping track of all of the secret societies at Yale University. It's supposed to be very autumnal, very creepy. It's a thriller. There are a whole bunch of content warnings for it. I haven't read any of them yet. I'm gonna go into this book as blind as I can, but I'm so excited to read it. Then while I'm talking about Waterstones, I also got my copy of Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is one that came out at the end of September, but again, Waterstones shipping took so long, so I didn't get it until October hit. But we have Boz and Simon here on the cover, and look at these floral pages. This is pretty much the reason that I pre-ordered this one the second that they announced it. I ended up really loving this book, and that leads me to the next couple of books that I have to show you. So if you pre-ordered a copy of Wayward Son, you could submit your receipt to Wednesday Books, and they would send you a book jacket for the hardcover of Carry On so that you could have a matching collection. So technically I didn't get a hardcover of Carry On this month, but I just wanted to show you that I got the book jacket as part of the pre-order incentive, so now it's very nice with my Wayward Son editions. Then I have the Wayward Son Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. So this again has Simon and Baz on the cover, but this is like the night version of the book, and just look at how pretty this cover is. I love it. And then this one actually also has different fan art than the fan art that is in the other editions, and this one also includes a chapter at the back that is actually annotated by Rainbow Rowell. And then finally I have the Indigo exclusive edition of Wayward Son. So this is the day version or sun version. And this one, you can't really see it, but this is actually like a sun that is on the cover. And then this one has fan art on the pages as well. Thankfully, I read and loved this book, so I'm okay with owning this many editions. Then I got a copy of Rosemary and Rue by Seanan McGuire. This is an urban fantasy series that I've always wanted to read, and you might be thinking, that's not new. It's actually the 10th anniversary of the series, so the publisher came out with a hardcover edition to celebrate that 10th anniversary. So technically, this hardcover is newly published. I'm pretty excited because I really dislike mass market paperbacks. I find them extremely difficult to read. I've always wanted to read the series and I've always been turned off by the format of the book, but now that I have a hardcover, I'm very much looking forward to diving into it. I believe If I Was a Girl Who Is Half Fairy, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm excited to find out. Then I also have a copy of Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis. I am so excited for this book. This is actually an arc, and this book doesn't come out until June of 2020, but it's been compared to Phantom of the Opera, The Night Circus, and Moulin Rouge. All three things that I really, really love, so I'm so looking forward to reading this one. My friend Alexa actually already read it, and she blurbed it, and she really loved it. So it's coming very highly recommended from someone that I trust. I love this cover so much. It's so pretty. Here's Alexa's recommendation too. It says, readers will find themselves transported into a world of magic, mystery, and mayhem, where a female magician competes for freedom and fame, only to discover that there may be more to her story than she could ever have imagined. Thanks, Alexa. Then jumping back to collector's editions for a minute. The collector's edition for A Conjuring of Light by Victoria Schwab came out. So I got this one, which is the original, and this one says Anosh on the cover. It's also got very pretty fan art on the pages. And then I also got the Barnes & Noble exclusive collector's edition, which has the metallic cover. So now I have 3 sets of this series, but I really love it. But same thing, says Anosh on the cover. Then Random House was kind enough to send me a copy of the illustrated 25th anniversary edition of Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and I have like paged through this and it is stunningly beautiful. I really like the illustrations. I think that this cover art is super beautiful. It's actually blurbed on the back by George R.R. Martin. It also has a very pretty map. And this is not only the collector's edition, but this is also the first time that Assassin's Apprentice was ever published in hardcover. So if you're a fan of the series, this is a pretty good opportunity for you to pick up a really nice edition of the first book. Then I got Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the illustrated edition of the 4th book in the series. I am planning on rereading Harry Potter very soon, so I think I'm going to try to read the illustrated editions for the first couple of books because that will be a new format for me to experience it in. I've always read from my like original editions or on audio or on ebook, but never the illustrated version yet. Goblet of Fire was one of my favorites of the books growing up, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Jim Kay's illustrations from his interpretation of the story. Then Simon & Schuster was kind enough to send me The Toll by Neil Shusterman. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Arc of the Scythe series. I'm actually currently reading this book at the moment. I'm over 100 pages into it and I'm really excited about finding out how it's going to end. This is one of my favorite young adult series ever. I think that this 3rd cover is really beautiful. I think that the artwork is so different from any other book series, and that's definitely what drew me to it in the beginning. And then just reading that first book, I felt completely in love with this world. So I'm really, really excited that we're getting the finale. And Simon & Schuster also sent me a finished copy of Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. I'm really excited to add this one to my collection. I actually already read this one, but it takes place in a haunted forest, and I think that Shea Earnshaw just writes atmosphere so well. So this one has a gorgeous cover, and just like The Wicked Deep, the first printing of the hardbacks are stunning. Look at this. I love it. It's so pretty. And I just love the moons too. I think they did such a good job with the design of this book. Then I have a couple of other books that Random House sent to me. The first one being Christmas Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. This is a book set within the Shopaholic series, and I read all the Shopaholic books back when I was in like high school and college. I think there's been 1 or 2 since then that I don't necessarily think I have gotten to, but I'm kind of excited to revisit the world of Shopaholic, and I don't necessarily feel like it's something that I'm going to like have to have read those last two books. I think I'll pick up on what's going on pretty quickly. So I'm pretty excited about it. I also think this cover is really beautiful, and there might be a holiday readathon coming up soon that this would be perfect for, just saying. They also sent me Doku Jedi Lost by Cavan Scott. So this book was actually first released as an audio only book. It's narrated by a full cast, and there was no print version of it, but back in July at San Diego Comic-Con, they announced that they would be releasing a hardcover edition, which I was really happy about because I'm not the biggest audiobook reader, and I think that I would absorb the story much better in print form. So now I can do that. And it also looks like it's going to be a pretty quick read because even though it's a hardcover novel, inside is still script form. So I do think this is one that I'm going to like fly through pretty quickly. And then Random House also sent me Visions from the Upside Down, which is a Stranger Things art book. Stranger Things is one of my favorite shows on Netflix. I'm sure that you're all already very familiar with it, but as a Dungeons and Dragons fan, I feel very invested in this story and all of these characters. So I was really excited to get this art book in the mail. Here are some examples on the back of what you can find inside. Then I received this very pretty mailing from Penguin Teen celebrating the release of Let It Snow, which has been adapted into a film, and it's releasing on Netflix on November 8th, and there's actually a virtual watch party for it that I'm definitely going to be partaking in. I cannot wait to see the adaptation of this book because I really enjoyed it, but I'll show you what's inside of here. So thank you to Penguin Teen for sending me the free copy of Let It Snow, the movie tie-in edition. These are all the actors that are going to be playing the characters from the book, and I really just cannot wait to watch this. And then also in here is a very cute little pocket edition of the book. The book's written by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, in case you are not aware. Then moving into Backlist books and some manga and graphic novels. So first of all, I have to show you an eBay find. That is this hardcover collector's edition of the second trilogy within the Legend of Drizzt series. So this is the Icewind Dale trilogy, and this is the one that I've heard spoken about most highly. I read the first book in the first series, the Dark Elf trilogy, in October, and I really loved it, so I'm really looking forward to continuing along and definitely at least completing the first 6 books in the series. I don't know how far I'll get overall, but so far really enjoying it. Then I picked up The Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. This is the second book in the Kings of the Wild series. It's actually a companion novel, and this one follows Bloody Rose, who is the daughter of Gabe. This book was a love letter to Dungeons and Dragons, and it was so humorous. Actually, sorry, I'm talking about the first book in the series, but I love that one so much, so I'm really eager to read this companion novel, and I know that Nicholas Eames is writing more within the world too, so I will 100% pick up anything that this man publishes. Then more Dungeons and Dragons love. So one of you guys actually recommended the Dragonlance Chronicles to me in the comments, so I picked up the first trilogy by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss. So the first book is Dragons of the Autumn Twilight, the second book is Dragons of Winter Night, and the third book is Dragons of Spring Dawning. I honestly just love the cover of the first book. This is something though, I wish that it was published in a form other than mass market paperback, because like I said before, that is not my favorite format to read in, but this story looks like something that I'll really enjoy, so I'm willing to give it a shot. Then Tor sent my parents a copy of The Monster of Haven, but I'm assuming it was meant for me. So this is a hardcover of the new story that just came out. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. It's a novella. It seems like it would be a really good October read. I'm not planning on saving it for next year. I'm probably gonna read it potentially in November. We'll see what happens, but I've heard really good things about it so far. I know it's kind of Jack the Ripper-esque, and it sounds like it's gonna be pretty good. Then I picked up a couple of books on Book Outlet. The first one being A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. It has this very ugly sticker on the front that I need to get rid of. I tried to just peel it off now and it started tearing, so I was like, I'm just gonna wait until I have more time to do this. I read this book back in January and I really enjoyed it, and I just never picked up a finished copy, so I was able to find one on Book Outlet and I did so. And then I also picked up hardcovers of Age of Myth and Age of Swords, both by Michael J. Sullivan. I have the third book in the series in hardcover because the publisher sent it to me, but I never had the first 2 books, and since they were on Book Outlet, I was like, well, that's kind of perfect. And now moving on to graphic novels and manga. So I actually only have one graphic novel to show you this month, and that is Over the Garden Wall Circus Friends. This is an original graphic graphic novel set within the world of Over the Garden Wall. So if you've been reading Over the Garden Wall comics, you don't have to be caught up on the like ongoing main series in order to read this one. This one is a like standalone graphic novel. So I'm pretty excited to read it. I love Over the Garden Wall, so I will read anything about it. Then manga, I picked up the 10th and final volume of Dream and Sun by Ichigo Takano. She's the author of Orange, for those who aren't aware, but this is a completely different story with a much happier tone than Orange. I read these ones like pretty much as soon as they come out, as soon as I film book hauls, so I'm definitely planning on reading this one, if not today, then at some point during this week for sure, because November is all about finishing series, and this is the last volume in this series. I also got volumes 2 and 3 of Witch Hat Atelier. I'm really looking forward to diving into this series. It just seems so magical, and I've heard so much that it's very Ghibli-esque, which obviously appeals to me very, very much. I'm also just so drawn to these covers and this artwork. I think it is stunning, so very much looking forward to getting to these. I also got volume 11 of Ancient Magus Bride. This is the next volume within the Ancient Magus Bride series. I'm still a little bit behind on this one, but Alexa and I are planning on catching up in November. Should be current at the end of this month. And then I also got volume 20 of Yona of the Dawn. I can't remember if I actually got this one this month or if it was last month and I had just forgotten to show it, but either way, this is the newest volume of Yona and I have it for my collection. This is another series that I really need to catch up on. And then finally, I got volumes 1 and 2 of the new hardcover collector's editions of Cardcaptor Sakura by Clamp. I really love Cardcaptor and I'm really excited that there are these beautiful hardcover editions. I think I'm gonna be unhauling my omnibus ones and definitely upgrading for these ones. I think that they are so pretty and I love that it has like rose gold on the spine, and even like the back of them are they're just gorgeous. So I'm very, very excited about these. But that's all that I have to show you today. These are all of the books that I acquired in October. Let me know if you read anything that I mentioned. Let me know if there's anything that I should bump up on my TBR. That's all that I have for this video, so I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!